Well, today I'm looking at the Countryman from Mini. This is the all-4, so the all-wheel drive version, and the S, so the slightly more powerful version. We're going to get into the specifics of the trims, but first of all, I just want to, as an overview, talk about Mini as a brand. Now, some of you are aware that BMW bought Mini several years ago. They've injected a lot of cash into the brand, a lot of technology and engineering, and really expanded it worldwide, yet at the same time trying to stay true to the design and heritage of the cars. The other big news is this vehicle shares its platform with the X1 from BMW. So this is an alternative to buying the BMW, and here's the good news, it's less expensive and you can get it equipped with a lot of the same features, including the high performance engine. It's got a tall greenhouse, meaning it's got plenty of glass. It's got a flat roof, as you get with all Minis. So it's got all of the latest modern amenities you would want in a small utility, but with this latest version, there's a little bit more cladding, a little bit more aggressive look, and I think that's welcomed by a lot of people. So you can have a BMW built Mini that shares a platform with the BMW, but it's all different on the inside. Now, I remember when the new Mini came out, the interiors were a bit of a hot mess. They had lots of toggle switches and buttons everywhere. It really wasn't very cohesive. With this new generation of Mini products, they've cleaned it up nicely. Yes, the toggle switches are still there, but that's just a sort of a throwback to the way things were done in the past. It's really quite simplified. You've still got where in the original Mini you would have a big speedo. That's your center sort of instrument cluster, and this one will give you the radio. In this particular model, it's got the upgraded navigation, and it gives you the larger screen, and it's very clear. Now, you can operate this through a controller between the front seats, very similar to BMW's iDrive. It even has the trackpad on top. You can trace letters and numbers to search things like phone numbers, maybe addresses in navigation. And the screen is very bright, as I mentioned. Now, you can use that, or you can just touch the screen, which is nice because it's so close. In behind the steering wheel is a pod instead of an instrument cluster. It shows you your rev counter, your speedo. It looks a little bit cheap in comparison to the rest of the interior. Now, speaking of materials, they do have a nice job of giving you soft padded materials on the tops, on the door armrests, and even in the center here of the dashboard. However, below that, sort of knee and down, is hard plastic, and that's a differentiator between this and the BMW. Has much higher quality materials on the lower parts that can scratch and scuff quite easily. Now, this car is equipped with a heads-up display. It's kind of like Mazda's, where it pops out of the dash, and it really isn't a great setup because your focal length isn't the same as it would be if it was projected onto the windscreen. Plus, when you turn the car off and it hides away, it makes this snapping and cracking noise like it's breaking. I'm not sure if that's intentional, but anyway, have a listen to this. So that's the heads-up display. I could easily live without that. Now, this car has beautiful leather seats that are optional, nice quilted pattern, big panoramic roof. The back seat is really quite comfortable because it's got a high and flat roof line with large windows. Kids will have no problem seeing out at all. I had enough headroom and legroom, even with this front seat back just a little bit. Now, the trunk is really quite useful. It's got a big square opening, and you can get it power operated. And underneath the floor is a flip and fold divider that stays up and allows you to load things in underneath that hidden floor and hide them away. So on utility, this is a really functional utility vehicle. It's mini in size on the outside, but it's quite roomy on the inside, which was always the case with Minis. You always got in them and thought to yourself, how do they get so much room in such a small package? So this Countryman is sold in many different flavors, from the base Cooper to the Cooper S I have here, or you can get the John Cooper Works version, which is the most powerful, the sportiest looking, and is still a great deal in comparison to that X1. So the base model, it's available with manual transmission and front wheel drive, and then you can add all-wheel drive and automatic to it. Now, powering that base Cooper is a 1.5 liter, 3-cylinder turbocharged engine. Now, don't knock this engine because it's also used in BMW's i8 hybrid sort of super sports car. So it's a capable engine. Of course, it doesn't have the hybridization, but you can get that 1.5 liter. Then you get the engine that I have here in the Cooper S. Now, this engine is doing a wonderful job of getting out of the pocket, driving in city traffic with absolutely zero problem. Then in that John Cooper Works version has the same engine as the X1. That's 228 horsepower from a 2-liter turbocharged engine. So there's a lot of different engines to choose from. This one is surprisingly good and would probably be the one to get. It has different modes. You can put it in sport, which really does make a difference. Now, the great thing about BMW and Mini, they're both brands that put an emphasis on driving dynamics and handling. And the handling and the steering feel in this car is excellent. It has a very nice on-center feel. In fact, it's a little bit darty. The suspension does a wonderful job of giving you initial feedback through the steering wheel and the chassis, but over larger bumps, it soaks that up with no problem. So it doesn't kill you, even though it has a nice responsive ride. Now, you do notice it's a little bit more top heavy because it's a utility vehicle compared to some of the smaller Minis, but you know, that's a good trade-off to get all of this extra space. One of the best ways to describe this car is it has real character. This engine has real character. The chassis and the suspension and the way it's set up has a lot of character. The interior is character-filled as well. It's got an 8-speed automatic transmission. You can shift in the center back and forth here. Now, some of the models do have paddle shifters. This one doesn't, which is too bad because it would make it a lot more fun. But overall, this car is a blast. All Minis are fun to drive. This one is just a bigger package. Really is satisfying to use. One of the nice things about Mini is it straddles two categories, kind of everyday vehicles and premium. And the great thing about Mini is it shares a lot of components in engineering with the BMW brand. This vehicle is available in several different trims. Base front-wheel drive, that starts at $27,000. The first all-wheel drive with the 3-cylinder engine is $29,000. This S that I have here starts at roughly $32,000, and the top Works model, the John Cooper Works, is $38,000, which is about $1,500 less than the X1 starts. And it has the same engine and a lot of the same features, but that car looks like a real bad boy. So there is real value. So if you're shopping for an X1, make sure to give the Mini all 4 Countrymen a try.